What's going on, guys? For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Ty, and today in this video, we're going to be talking about the Lilo and Stitch live action remake. Was it good or did it utterly disappoint? That's what I want to get into here today. But listen, was I excited for this movie? Quite honestly, not really. I absolutely love the original Lilo and Stitch. It came out right around the time of when I was born. I'm a July 1st, 2002 baby. But listen, the thing is, with this film, I was honestly very scared because of the fact that they've been making these live action remakes, Disney, of course, and I pretty much don't like any of them except maybe like one or two. I just don't think they should be made in the first place, but they make them some money, even though Snow White just lost them a lot of money. But this film, it was a bit different because I actually had a lot of investment in the original, so to see them actually remaking a film that I love, I was a bit excited. I guess you could say I was intrigued at the bare minimum because it would be cool to see this film in a new medium. With that being said, I finally got to see this movie, and I'm going to be honest with you, I saw some of the early reactions, some of the reviews. People were saying, oh, you know what, it's actually pretty decent. This is the best Disney live action remake. I'm going to be honest with you, I borderline hated this film. I'm going to be honest, I'm going against the masses here. I'm going against like the general opinion on this movie. I did not like it at all. I think it's almost disrespectful to the original, and it's kind of just a joke. And no disrespect to the actors, of course, like, you know, the little girl that played Lilo and stuff, and the team, the creative team, but I just think Disney really needs to stop making these live action remakes. And yes, Lilo and Stitch is probably going to make them a ton of money, but I think it just does such a bad job at adapting, or at least just remaking or retelling the story, whatever you want to say, in live action. Before I really dive into the details here, one thing I've got to say is that I'm unfortunately going to have to spoil this movie to talk about the live action remake because of the fact that I have to talk about the differences from the original to the new one. So if you don't want to be spoiled, then sorry, but I promise you're not going to be spoiled on anything because this film has been out for like 22 years or 23 years at this point. So if you haven't seen it, I don't really know what to tell you. But again, I am going to be spoiling some things, just talking about some things that they changed about this movie, which I feel like is one of the biggest problems, even though there's multiple large problems. But the first thing I want to talk about here is about 5 minutes into this movie, maybe 7 minutes, give or take, I really started to realize, not even just that this was going to be a bad movie, but that this film should not have been made for one reason. It's genuinely super ugly. It's not pretty to look at in the slightest. And I think that one of the biggest strengths that the original Lilo and Stitch has, even though the substance and, like, you know, the themes are great and the characters, is that it's one of the most beautiful animated films that has ever been made, in my opinion. The watercolor backgrounds, the characters that kind of like play against it, I think it's phenomenal. The Hawaii setting, of course, that allows for a lot of really beautiful just visuals on screen. This film is just ugly. It's gray, and yes, you could say, well, what do you expect? It's a live-action remake. You know, it's not like real life is like some wonderland. You know what? Then maybe you shouldn't have made the movie, honestly, because that's a big selling point. The one part that bothered me, like I said, like about 7 minutes in, it really bothered me, is once you've got the intro with, like, you know, Jumbo, and he's talking about 626, and then Stitch escapes or whatever, then we cut to Earth, and we see Earth for the first time with the Hawaiian roller coaster ride sequence. Even though it's in the beginning of the movie, it's one of my favorite parts of the film, if not my favorite part of the film, the original, of course. And it just looks so ugly. And in the original film, it's so gorgeous. And it just sets this film up so well because Hawaii is beautiful in real life. But the way it's animated with the fish, they're all colorful and stuff, it's gorgeous. And in this new movie, it's like a digital camera showing us like 3 fish swimming around. And then we see like Lilo swimming. It's really awful to look at. Like, it's not pleasing whatsoever. From there, the story. They definitely changed some things. Yes, it follows the same beats, but there's a lot of differences that I just don't think make sense. And again, I'm going to get into like spoilers here because, you know, some of the best dialogue in this film, it's really good. But the only reason that it's really good is because obviously it's the same dialogue from the original. So of course, if you're just saying the same sentence, the same really well-written sentence from the original, it's gonna be good. But I'm not gonna give you like extra points for that because that's just like copying someone's homework and just, you know, changing it a little bit. That's really all you're doing here. And I'm not blaming them because obviously you are retelling the story, but everything that they added, I feel like really hurt the story. Where do I even start? The main thing that really bothered me, and this is just one specific thing that I want to talk about here, is one of the most important scenes of the film that sort of shifts into a new gear, I guess you could say, in the original I'm talking about. It's going to be the Ohana scene, where Nani is just really pissed off with Lilo. She's like, listen, you're getting rid of Stitch right now, you're done. And then Lilo says, listen to me. And this is the first time we hear this in the film, and it becomes a very important part. She's like, Ohana means family. And right as she's about to bring like Stitch outside or something, she's like, stops in her tracks. She's like, you know what? Closes the door slowly. She turns around. She's like, you're right. Because I'm actually getting chills right now. Because that's the reality. Family never gets left behind. And that's something that they live by in the Lilo and Stitch world. Or in their family, I guess you could say. This broken family that we're meant to know. But in the new version, for some reason, when Lilo tells Nani, hey, Ohana means family, Nani looks at her and she goes, well, this is reality. Like, you know, you kind of have to like step up to the plate here and stuff. She kind of goes on like this little 2 or 3 sentence rant instead of being like, putting her guard down and being like, you know what, you're just like a naive child, I understand. She kind of just, not goes off on her, but she just continues to be frustrated. It's not like she's like, okay, I understand, Lilo, because I care about you. From there, the entire broken family dynamic, I feel like just isn't as good in this new film because of the fact that, first of all, for some reason, I don't know why they did this, they added in like this aunt character that's sort of just like, again, like an aunt figure to Lilo and Nani, of course, the sisters. But I feel like one of the biggest factors in the original is the fact that Lilo and Nani, I keep going to say Lilo and Stitch, but their family is kind of alone. Like, yes, they have David as a helpful hand. He's like a good friend, you know, a love interest for Nani, I guess you could say. But the reality is they really don't have that much help. They're really struggling. But when there's like an aunt figure that's like another family member, it kind of changes the entire dynamic of this family, because when Nani's working, my brain's just thinking, okay, why can't she just leave Lilo with his aunt if they have family? They're not like as broken because now you actually have some more help. But when they're alone and their only help is like her friend David, who again, he's a great character in the original film. I like that little like added friend element that they have there. I just don't think it works, and it kind of almost breaks the dynamic here, because all I'm thinking throughout this entire film is, well, this aunt is here, and she has a lot of scenes, and she's honestly helping them out a lot. And I'm not saying, wow, I just want to see Lilo and Nani just struggle this whole movie, but the reality is, in the original, they kind of are, and that's what makes it so beautiful in the end when they do find family, and when they do find success. Speaking of success, because the whole point of this film is that, of course, the original Lilo and Stitch is that their family is like failing. And there's this social worker, Mr. Bubbles, Cobra Bubbles, right? This big menacing figure. And even though he's menacing and even though he's very strict, he always shows tough love. He's honestly giving them a chance. He's very sympathetic. He's like, listen, Nani, I'm trying to help you here, but at the end of the day, I'm the guy that has to lay down the law. That just isn't in this movie. It's not in the new film. Cobra Bubbles is now basically like this CIA operative, and I know that he's in the CIA in the original film, but that's all he is. He's not even the social worker. They bring in this woman to be the social worker. I said woman like it was a problem. I'm just saying they just bring in a new character, I should say. They bring in a new character to like act as the social worker, and no offense to her, her acting is noticeably bad. Like, it's noticeably bad, and I don't really know who she is, but I digress. We'll move on. It's not that important, but I'm just saying. And Cobra Bubbles is kind of just like this weird side character, like investigating Stitch. From there, I mean, what are my other complaints, man? I think that Stitch, Lilo and Stitch, they just don't have chemistry, and I think that's because of the fact that, first of all, I just have to say it, and I don't mean to sound like, you know, I'm hating on, like, the Phantom Menace back in 1999 when they were all hating on Jake Lloyd, the little kid that was playing Anakin, but I don't know if this little girl sold me, and it's not her fault. I just don't think the material they gave her, even though they're copying an original, well, the original film, I should say, it is good, even though it's good material. It's hard to sell me that she's just this weird kid in this film. She's just not acting weird. If anything, I feel like Lilo in the new live-action Lilo and Stitch, she's almost just like this bad kid that sometimes says weird stuff, rather than being a weird kid that sometimes does bad stuff. It's almost like the opposite. It's almost like flipped around, where it feels like every weird thing that she says in this movie is just performative, like almost like, hey, I'm a kid and I want attention. Whereas in the original Lilo and Stitch, it does feel like she's genuinely just this laid back, weird, lovable kid. And she doesn't mean any harm with any of her actions. It's just how she is, and she's naive because she's a child. And that's also why Nani, like, shows mercy on her a lot of the times, even though she's doing really bad stuff, because she's like, you're only like 5 or 6 years old. And I really like that about the original. But in this movie, it feels like Nani's like ruthless to her almost. One thing I will say though, besides the material she was given, I think the best part of this movie might actually be the character of Nani. I'm gonna be real. I actually really liked her in this, like the actress, and I thought she did a good job. Yes, I don't like some of the lines, like I said, with the Ohana means family stuff, but that's almost like separate from her. I feel like she really does like portray the character well of Nani. She has like funny little moments and stuff. Speaking of funny little moments, going right back to the negatives, they add in like a bunch of like burp and like fart jokes, which are obviously the bottom of the barrel, lowest hanging fruit type of jokes that you could add to a film that just really damage it. One thing I do like in here that they had is Pleaky, who's played by some actor. I don't really know his name. He was pretty good. But then on the opposite end of that, you've got Jumba, played by Zach Galifianakis, who I love, and who also I haven't seen in like years in anything. He's a great actor. He's obviously very funny, but this is obviously just a paycheck for him. And they changed the story in a way where Jumba is now like the villain, even though he's almost more of just like a misunderstood scientist in the original. And at the end of the movie, he ends up becoming, kind of like a part of the family. Even though he's exiled or whatever, even though he was doing bad stuff, it was never personal. But in this movie, he's just bad. And they take away Captain Gantu. I forgot to mention that, by the way. The big shark guy, he's not in this movie. He doesn't exist. So they kind of just had to point to someone and say, you're going to be the bad person because we need a villain in here. There's so many more things that I could talk about. I'm trying to think of them off the top of the head, but this just is clearly so much worse than the original. It's ridiculous. Like, it's genuinely ridiculous how bad this is. And I don't want to spoil it, like, fully, but the way this movie ends is different than the original movie, and it really bothers me. It really bothers me the way this movie ends and what they do to resolve what's going on. There's also another thing in here. This is going to sound a bit random, but one of the most important parts of the movie is that Nani brings Lilo to go get a dog because she's like, okay, we're going to, get your spirit up. We're going to hopefully become a family, whatever. In this movie, the aunt goes to bring her to get the dog, and they just pick up Stitch. And also, a really key moment that they missed out on is that they don't show Lilo like signing the little paper, which is a key moment for the end of the film when she's like, hey, I own Stitch. That just doesn't happen in this movie, even though I feel like it's a very important and clever part of this film. And the original Lilo and Stitch is just so layered. It's such a layered film because you've got the broken family stuff, you've got the alien stuff, you've got, Cobra Bubbles that you're worrying about. You've also got Pleaky and Jumba that you're worrying about. You've got, I guess, like, the Galactic Federation. You've got, like, the David little subplot. And then you've got, like, her trying to find a job. There's just so many moving parts in, like, a 90-minute runtime film that it just creates such a wonderful movie in the end of the day. And this just feels so lifeless. And the funniest part is, I haven't even talked in this video yet about Stitch, who's obviously the main person running the show of this movie. I feel like every time Stitch was on screen, I'm just watching this, like, CGI character running around. And there was just no chemistry whatsoever with Lilo. I feel like in the original Lilo and Stitch, it just feels like they just flow with each other. And the reason for that is because there's a lot of scenes, especially in the bedroom towards the beginning, where, he builds up San Francisco and then he destroys it and stuff. There's the Elvis scene, which isn't in this movie. And speaking of that, none of those scenes are in this movie. They, like, cut them, I guess, and they added little fart jokes, and they added Stitch ruining someone's wedding for some reason. It's just really frustrating, and honestly, it's, like, disheartening for, like, the future of, like, the movie industry, practically, because I'm just like, this is so genuinely soulless. And again, I'll give credit where credit's due. I liked Nani. I liked her character. Even if I don't like the decisions they made with her character, I think the actress did a good job. And also, I liked Pleaky. I think they did a good job with him. Besides that, though, it's a really rough movie. If I had to settle on a score for the live-action Lilo and Stitch remake, I think that I'm going to hit this movie with a 2-star rating. The same that I gave Snow White. which is crazy because I love Lilo and Stitch so much more. Like, it's watchable. I was thinking about giving it a 1.5, but honestly, I'll settle with a 2 because, again, it's watchable. It's pretty short. You're never bored, even though it's edited. Something I forgot to mention. Oh my god, that frustrated me so much. It's edited so quickly that it's pretty obvious that, like, they're trying to get, like, TikTok clips out of it at some points. I know that, you know, maybe that's just, like, me being a conspiracy theorist, but in all seriousness, that is another complaint that I want to add on here. I'm going to give it 2 stars. It's not a good movie. Let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry if I feel like I have low energy right now, but honestly, this was just a draining review because I'm just like, this movie was just so disappointing. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. And let's just move on to Mission Impossible and Superman and Jurassic Park and this and that because I'm just done with this stuff, man. These live action remakes need to end. And I'm so happy that they put like the Tangled one like on a little hiatus or whatever they did because thank God they need to stop making these. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you thought down below in the comments. I love you guys and I'll see you in the next video.